How has media violence impacted the adolescent behavior in modern society? Ever since the invention of video games, the amount of violent content in them has generally increased, as well as greater graphic quality, which is essentially what modern gamers look for. Violent content is therefore a crucial part of video game development and market competition. Young minds learn and imitate actions of others, and in the end, gamers are rewarded for being violent, which increases physical and verbal aggression amongst the youth. Music has been an integral part of many cultures for centuries. As different social platforms take rise in today's society, it is a lot easier for children to become exposed to violent and explicit forms of media like music. According to multiple researchers, the sound of music plays a large role in the developmental process of the brain. It has been recorded by the American Pediatrics Association that when rock music was first used over 50 years ago, the interpretation of music and music lyrics has shifted immediately. With the spread of harmful lyrics, adolescents are being introduced to topics like drugs and violence. Rating systems in movies are controlled by the movie industry, and therefore these ratings tend to be less severe. This allows them to target young adult teens, which are a large portion of box office sales, which leads to many movies that should be rated R becoming PG-13. Over the last 300 years, crime news has become the sensational news topic, which means that this is the focus of most news coverage and reaches an enormous amount of people. Included in this group of people are children who are now experiencing more violence because of the news. The main issue with this topic is the effect it has on children. The incorporation of violent content in the media that humans encounter on a daily basis causes an increase in physical and verbal aggression. The repetitive nature of playing, watching, or listening in large amounts of time at once, having the result of no time for homework or studying. We interviewed our student peers and administration to find out their views on this topic.
Do you think that the media glorifies violence?
Yes,
Why?
because there's a lot of like shooting video games and stuff, and that really
Why do you
influences
think there are so
children.
many?
Because they're fun.
Why do you think they're fun?
Because you kill things.
Why is it fun to kill
Because
things?
that's fun. You don't like to kill things?
No, not really.
It's a shame.
Okay. Do you think that the use of different media has improved our society?
Yeah,
Why?
it's made things easier.
Like what?
Do you think that the news glorifies violence? Why or why not?
In a way, it can, because like they want you to know the most violent stories all the time, and not and like I don't know, those are the most popular. Like
But some songs, they do encourage you to do violent actions, or they have violent lyrics. Do you agree or do you disagree?
I disagree because it's all about how you interpret it. I can hear a song that be like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Do you really think I'm gonna punch you in the face?
So
The one that say whoop that tree, like the movie Hustle and Flow, whoop that tree, whoop that tree. They're married.
Okay. Do you think the news glorifies violence? Why or why not?
I don't watch the news, so I can't answer that question.
What about on social media?
I
Stuff
don't
that you
really
see
care.
about shootings and whatnot.
I don't like look into stuff like that, like shootings and stuff. You have to send me the video.
I can show you.
What video?
Oh, there's a video of violence.
I don't gun violence and stuff video. I don't watch that stuff. Like no, I watch like Lifetime, like the cooking channel.
So
like,
you try to
Law and
stay away
Order.
from stuff that has like a negative aspect.
Yeah, I don't get no entertainment out of it. Now you put on Love and Hip Hop now. We make Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or somewhere.
Okay. Do you believe parents, you are a parent, should be aware of what their children watches or listens to?
Yes.
Do you think that they should not watch or listen to violent forms of media?
Kids?
Yeah, kids or
At a certain age,
teenagers.
yeah.
What age do you think is most
I don't
appropriate?
know, it depends on the kid.
What do you mean?
So if a child is demonstrating mature behavior and can handle some of these things, and is watching with the adult. I think
Okay.
it depends.
So if your child somehow gets exposed to violent forms of media, do you think that that would like negatively affect them? Do you think it would like play a large role in like their developmental process?
Not a large role, not unless it's dealt with. So if that does happen and we have a conversation regarding what happened and how we redirect that, I think we can, form a better opinion.
Okay. Do you believe parents should be aware of what their child watches or listens to?
I do, and more so than I think I ever would have been. And as a parent, you try to balance that line between, what's out there for your kid to consume and what they can see and what they can hear. But at the same time, we've never been in a situation where kids have had access to what they have access to. And so I don't know whether a child really has the frontal lobe to understand what they are consuming and the effects that it might have on them. To me, it's kind of like letting a 3-year-old pick their diet. Don't be surprised if they end up with a stomachache because they chose all bad stuff for themselves. They just don't really know yet what's good and what's bad. And the internet is the alpha, the omega. It's all of the great things and all of the worst things that we can imagine all rolled up into one. And I'm not sure kids have that ability yet to differentiate what is sort of culturally appropriate content versus something that's really kind of depraved.
Do you believe there was a specific event in the media that caused this turn in your ideals?
No. I think it's just been a slow-moving train. I think when you look at what the internet is, the idea of access to information, you add in the complicating factor of freedom of speech, which allows for us to freely put out there whatever we want and consume whatever we want. It becomes more difficult when there's so much information out there. It used to be with limited media, you had more control because there were less sort of veins to make it into your household, and now it's just there's so many different ways that it can sort of infiltrate. It's hard to keep your thumb on, and I think it's sort of a natural outcome of freedom of speech with this new technology, but I'm not sure it's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you think the news glorifies violence?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
They often tend to look at violent video games and violent music for whatever bad behavioral things are teenagers, and they often tend to blame those things
Do you
for
think the two correlate?
which
Then what is in the media and the behavior of teenagers?
no, I don't think they correlate. I think it's just it depends on the person, because myself, I play
So
video
you
games.
think it's all personality based?
Yeah, because I play video games, I listen to music, whether it's violent or not, and I don't see any bad personality traits in me, but someone
Do you think
else.
these personality traits come from genetics or upbringing?
Upbringing.
Why do you say
It kind of, I feel it's based on the household you're raised in, and just kind of how you're raised, and what you think is, just how you're raised, and the personality traits that you have, and not necessarily genetic. It makes it sound genetic, but I mean it as if just the environment you're in kind of influences what you like and what you listen to and how you act.
Why do you believe there's so much violence in the media?
I feel it's hard to avoid violence, and either way there's gonna be some type of violence. So fighting, for example, some people could classify it as violence, but it's kind of hard to avoid stuff like that in some video games and music and stuff. So I just feel it's kind of natural, for lack of better words, to incorporate it.
What do you think triggered the amount of violence that is now in the media compared to what has been in the past?
I don't know. I don't really think anything triggered it. I think kind of just rappers and just try to speak rap about what's on their mind and stuff, whether it be violent or not. Video games, it's a competitive industry, and so when video game companies try to create these games, they're because Call of Duty, for example, is one of the most popular game franchises, and it's the sole purpose of it is shooting violence and stuff, and so other games try to compete that by adding violence into theirs. So it's kind of that.
Do you believe that violence should be removed from major forms of the media, or do you think it's important to remain informed despite the violent themes that are presented?
No, I don't think it should be removed. I think they should keep it, because you can't protect for like the media, for example, glorifying the violence, they can't protect everyone from everything violent. Like
Why do you
there's have to be some exposure to it because they're making it seem like it's a bad thing, but necessarily like it's not always. Like it doesn't have to be like criminal related violence. It could just be like
So you believe
There's different
violence
degrees.
is about something immoral?
What I'm trying to say is I don't think it'll bring anything bad. I don't know necessarily like what the good would be out of it, but I just don't think it'll bring anything bad. I think it'll just like be neutral, like nothing's gonna change kind of thing. Thank you.
In the end, the differing opinions of our peers make the idea of media violence fall on a scale from least to most important. Although the opinions may differ, although their opinions may differ, we can all agree when we say that the media has violent outlets that, when exposed to children, can have a certain impact on the way we behave and think.
Motivation.
But what's the difference between the people who don't shoot up the school and the people who do?
They're just crazy.
That's gonna be a blooper. Media has improved our society.
Yeah, it's allowed us to watch.
Okay, we'll do.
And that.
And that.
Ask the one about parents.
Okay.
Parents?
Parents.
Where's that one?
Parents?
Do you believe parents should be aware?
Okay. Out of the 4 most popular types of
I am
media.
Mr. Navarro.
Oh no, we're not
Are you
doing
like
that.
reading?
No.
Okay. I'm Carly,
I'm Sam.
I'm Freddie.
and this is iCarly.
One of the 4 most popular types of media: video games, music, films, and news. Which one do you use the most?
Probably music.
Why do you say that?
Why did I ask that?
Yeah, I don't know. He also say that because he listens to it.
I don't know that's somewhere.
Okay.
Any more questions? I have stuff to do.
That's it.
Thank you, Donna Cooper.